In the realm of basketball greatness, two teams stand as titans of the regular season, the 73-9 Golden State Warriors and the 72-10 Chicago Bulls. The debate over which of these record-breaking squads would emerge victorious in a head-to-head matchup, hypothetical showdown. Let's dive into the strengths and the strategies of these iconic teams and explore who might come out on top in this ultimate battle of NBA dominance. As we journey through the history of basketball, the game has evolved from the gritty defensive battles of the 90s to a new era defined by speed, precision, and long-range shooting. Enter the 73-9 Golden State Warriors, a team that didn't just play basketball, they redefined it. A style that seemed almost otherworldly. They danced around the court, orchestrating a symphony of three-pointers and fast breaks that left opponents scrambling. Let's dive into the world of the Warriors, where the Splash Brothers reigned supreme and every game was a showcase of the NBA's future. Before we dive into the historic 2016 NBA season, let's quickly recap the sudden emergence of the historic team, going to the very beginning where it all started, which is in June 25th, 2009, where the Golden State Warriors took a chance on this undersized point guard out of Davidson College, named Wardell Stephen Curry. And in just 2 years' time, the Warriors found their perfect running mate, even if they did not know it at the time. Because with the 11th pick in the 2011 NBA draft, the Golden State Warriors selected Klay Thompson. And the final piece to the puzzle would not come in the lottery, not even in the first round of the 2012 NBA draft, but with the 5th pick in the second round of the draft, the Warriors selected Draymond Green. And just like that, this historic trio has just been formed. But little did they know, they would be creating history just 4 years later. But it took the Warriors some time to really start to figure it out, because in 2013 they lost in the second round to the San Antonio Spurs. In 2014 they lost to Lob City Clippers 4-3. But in 2015 is where the little light skin that everyone doubted really started to prove himself. Also, David Lee getting injured in the season turned into a blessing in disguise, with Draymond snatching his chain as a starting power forward and never looking back. Ending the 2015 regular season with a record of 67-15, they were complete juggernauts. And after beating everyone out west, they see a depleted Cavs team without Kyrie and Kevin Love and beat the Cavs 4-2 to give the Warriors their first championship since 1975. And now that brings us to the 2015-2016 Golden State Warriors, where they started off 24-0, led by the babyface assassin Wardell Stephen Curry, and next to him his splash brother Klay Thompson, and in the small forward position it was Harrison Barnes, a great role player with this dynasty team. At the power forward, the loudest person on the court, finished second DPOY, 7th in MVP in Draymond Green, and their starting center, the Australian Demon, in Andrew Bogut. It wasn't just the starters who shined, it was the bench, led by the runner-up and 6th man of the year in Andre Iguodala, also the midi magician himself in Sean Livingston, and the stretch 5 in Maurice Spates. And great role players that do the dirty work in Ian Clark, Festus Ezeli, and Brandon Rush. The Warriors were a force not to be messed with, and as we know now, they finished out the NBA season with a record of 73 wins and 9 losses, to beat the previous record of the 72 wins and 10 losses set by the Chicago Bulls just 20 years prior. The Golden State Warriors led the league in not just wins, but also in offensive rating, with 114.5, 1 point ahead of the OKC Thunder, and a defensive rating of 103.8, which was tied with the Lob City Clippers at the 5th ranked defense. And no one wanted to see the Warriors in the playoffs, especially after Wardell Stephen Curry won the only unanimous MVP in league history, completely dominating the NBA, averaging 30.1 points per game, which he led the league in, 6.7 assists, 2.1 steals, also led the league in that too, 5.4 rebounds, shooting 45% from 3, 50% from the field, and 91% from free throw, also led the league from that too, ending the year shooting 50, 40, 90 for a historic shooting season. To go into the playoffs to match up with James Harden-led Rockets with Dwight Howard, and it went exactly as you thought it would. The Rockets only winning 1 game, the Warriors beating them by an average margin of victory of 24 points to move on to the second round. The matchup with the young Blazers, led by a 25-year-old Damian Lillard and a 24-year-old CJ McCollum, the same fate fell upon them after winning only 1 game, the Warriors winning this series by an average margin of victory of 9 points. And now for their biggest challenge yet, the 55-win OKC Thunder, led by Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook. You would think I'm about to say they suffered the same fate, but you would be wrong. The Thunder taking game 1, and in that game with 4 minutes left, the Warriors were 0-6 from the field with 3 turnovers to seal their loss. And in game 2, the Warriors put belt to ass, winning by 27 points. That would be the last one in a while, because the Thunder won games 3 and 4 to put them up 3-1 in the series against the 73-9 Golden State Warriors. But they have their backs against the ropes for the first time in 2 years. So how do they respond? Well, even with Westbrook and Durant combining for 71 points, it still wasn't enough. It still wasn't enough for the Thunder to win, because the Warriors ended up winning Game 5, 120-111, to force a Game 6. And we all know whose ears perk up when they hear those two words. This was the birth of Game 6 Clay, rattling off 11 threes and missing only 7 the entire game, going 11 of 18 from 3 and scoring 41 points. He could not be stopped. And with Steph having 31 points of his own, but with KD shooting 12% from 3, Game 6 went to the Golden State Warriors to force a Game 7 in Oracle Arena. And the most important game of the season for both of these teams, the Thunder came up short, with the Golden State Warriors being up 11 points in the fourth quarter, and it wasn't looking too good for the Thunder. And for the rest of that quarter, they did not come back, losing the game by 8, and Russell Westbrook shrinked in the biggest game of his career to that point, shooting 7 out of 21 from the field, and the Warriors advanced to the NBA Finals. And now it's time for the long-awaited rematch from last season, the Golden State Warriors versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. But this time different. The Cavs are fully healthy and ready for revenge, but sadly, that didn't show in Game 1 because they lost by 15 points. And in Game 2, they lost by 33 points, and the Warriors are setting a tone. But quickly, the Cavs came back into Game 3 with some fight left in them, beating the Warriors by 30 points to answer back for what happened in Game 2. But with Game 4 being in Quicken Loans Arena, the Cavs having a chance to tie the series, they did not. In Game 4, the Warriors ended up winning by 11 points and taking a 3-1 lead. But there was one issue with this game. Draymond Green was suspended for Game 5 for having multiple flagrant fouls throughout the playoffs. And when he picked one up in Game 4, that made him ineligible to play for Game 5. So Game 5, going back to Oracle Arena, the Warriors were confident they could still close it out without Draymond. And confidence could only get you so far. With LeBron and Kyrie absolutely decimating the Warriors' defense, both scoring an efficient 41 points. And even with the Splash Brothers scoring 62 points combined, it was not enough. Cavs taking Game 5, going back to Cleveland. And even with Draymond being back, it still wasn't enough, with LeBron scoring 41 points again, and all the momentum swinging in the Cleveland's favor. Even with the Splash Brothers' effort, yet again, it was not enough, with the Cavs tying the series at 3-3 going back to Oracle. The Warriors were extremely confident going into this game because they are in their home court in the last game of the season to close out the Cavs to win a back-to-back championship. And going into the half, the Warriors were up by 7 points. And it wasn't LeBron or Kyrie who got the Cavs back into the game. It was J.R. Smith, who scored 8 straight points to tie the game. And throughout the third and fourth quarters, both teams are not able to pull away, because they were tied at 89 points with 4 minutes to go. And from the 4-minute mark to the 2-minute mark, no one proceeded to score. And then finally, the Warriors have some hope, because after a Kyrie miss, they go on a 2v1 fast break. Turns into one of the most iconic plays in NBA history.
Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. LeBron James with the rejection.
And just like that, the momentum has shifted to the Cavs. But still, for the next minute, no one scored. But yet again, when all hope is lost, with 55 seconds left, after a scoreless 3 minutes from both teams, Kyrie gets the matchup he wants.
Irving and Curry, one-on-one. Irving puts it up. It's good. Kyrie Irving from downtown.
And just like that, that shot alone ices the game for the Warriors, and the Cavs send home the 73-9 Warriors on their own home court. And the Cavs win their first ever championship in franchise history, with the Golden State Warriors' final record being 15 wins and 8 losses. And now it is time to transition from the 3-point heavy Golden State Warriors to the defensive predicated Chicago Bulls. And not just any Bulls team, the 1996 72-10 Michael Jordan-led Chicago Bulls. But let's quickly recap the events leading up to the 1995-1996 NBA season, because after the Bulls three-peated from the years 1991 to 1993, and an unexpected turn of events, Michael Jordan decided to retire at the peak of his powers, leaving the Bulls in the hands of Scottie Pippen. And even with Scottie playing as well as he did, it still wasn't enough, losing in the semifinals to the New York Knicks in 7 games. And the following season, Michael Jordan came back to play the last 17 games of the season, and the Bulls were hopeful once again. But hope can only get you so far. Michael Jordan did not shake off the rust enough in the first 17 games and in the first round, but leading up to the second round against Orlando Magic led to them losing 4-2 in the second round. And with the Bulls falling short in the previous 2 seasons, they knew it was time for a change. Insert one of the greatest rebounders of all time, Dennis Rodman. And with this added change, the Bulls started out hot, because in their first 30 games in the 1995-1996 NBA season, they were 27-3. The best start to an NBA season at that point on the backs of the Big Three, and His Airness himself, Michael Jeffrey Jordan, and his longtime running mate, who finished second in DPOY, fifth in MVP, All-NBA first team in Scottie Pippen, and lastly, the newly acquired maniac in Dennis Rodman. This trio was unstoppable. They also had the support of the role players in Ron Harper, the dirty work defensive player, the shooter before shooting became cool in Steve Kerr, and the European Tony Kukoc. Nonetheless, they were dominant, with Michael Jordan putting up 30.4 points per game, first in the league that year, 2.2 steals, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, shooting 50% from the field, and 42% for 3, en route to win his second to last MVP. As we know, the Chicago Bulls ended the regular season with 72 wins and 10 losses, beating out the previous record holder by 3 wins, which was the 1971 Los Angeles Lakers, who had 69 wins and 13 losses. And even before the Bulls had broken the regular season record, no one wanted to see the so-called Black Jesus when it came playoff time. So in round 1 of the 1996 NBA playoffs, to match up with the Alonzo Mourning and Tim Hardaway-led Miami Heat, and it went just about how you would expected it, with the Bulls winning the series 3-0, with the average margin of victory being 23 points. It was belt to ass from start to finish. The next series would be against the Patrick Ewing-led New York Knicks, which was a lot closer than the series says, because even though the Bulls had won the series 4-1, they had some dogfights, winning Game 1 by only 7 points and Game 4 by only 3. But usually when a player is averaging 36 points per game for a series, they will end up winning that series, and that's exactly what Michael Jordan did. And next up in the conference finals is where they played the Orlando Magic in the rematch of last year. But this time there was a change. The Bulls had some reinforcements in Dennis Rodman. And with Jordan back to his Jordan form, there was no stopping the Bulls, sweeping that Orlando Magic team and winning by an average margin of victory of 17 points to advance to the NBA Finals, to match up with the Seattle Supersonics, led by the duo of Gary Payton and Shawn Kemp. But there was a problem. Gary Payton was playing on a torn calf muscle and wasn't able to play to his full capacity, leading the Bulls to blow them out in Game 1 by 17 points, which lit a fire underneath the Sonics' asses, keeping the game close throughout, but it still was not enough, with the Bulls pulling away and closing out Game 2 by 4 points to take a 2-0 series lead. And you would think going back home that would ignite something in the Sonics. Well, it didn't, because the Bulls ended up winning Game 3 by a total of 22 points and taking a 3-0 series lead, and everyone thought this series was over. But with one small change in the next game, the Sonics had hope again, because in this Game 4, they decided to put the injured Gary Payton onto Michael Jordan. And even with this injury, he is still their best perimeter defender. And with that change, they ended up winning Game 4, 107-86, to go back to Chicago to give the Sonics a little bit of hope. And the series should have ended here, and everyone thought it was going to end here in Chicago in a Game 5. But to everyone's surprise, it didn't. The Sonics forced a Game 6 to apply some pressure on this legendary Bulls team. And in this Game 6, when the Bulls needed that so-called Black Jesus himself, he was nowhere to be found. Because in that game, Michael Jordan proceeded to shoot 5 of 19 from the field, 22 points, and 11 of them off of free throws. That change of putting Gary Payton onto Michael Jordan changed the trajectory of this series. But sadly, the Seattle Supersonics were just outclassed from top to bottom. Because even with Michael Jordan struggling, and even with Shawn Kemp and Gary Payton's best efforts, and even with Michael Jordan playing as bad as he did, the Bulls still pulled through to secure another ring to close out this legendary playoff run with 16 wins and 3 losses. 72-10, 73-9. Michael Jordan versus Stephen Curry. It is time to see if the physical, defensive-minded Chicago Bulls can match up with the running and gunning of the Golden State Warriors. Who would win in the 7-game series between the 1996 Chicago Bulls and the 2016 Golden State Warriors? And in game 1, this was a defensive masterclass from both teams, with the Bulls being up by 5 going into the 4th, leading 60-65. Because with 1 minute left in the 4th quarter, the Bulls find themselves only up by 3. But unfortunately, they are matched up against the Splash Brothers, because when they are down 3 points, you can count on them to come back, and that's exactly what they did. And the Splash Brothers tied this game, but unfortunately for them, they left more than enough time for a game winner. And with 8 seconds left, Scottie Pippen gives the ball to Michael Jordan. Jordan, with the game on the line, misses it, forced overtime. And in OT, it was a disaster for the Warriors, only scoring 1 point in the entire overtime, and the Bulls scoring 10 to win this game 108-99. And for the Golden State Warriors, the leading scorer was Stephen Curry, who had 22 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists, shot 4 of 15 from 3, with Draymond Green right behind him with 20 points, 10 rebounds and 5 assists, and Klay Thompson with 19 points and 3 assists. And with the Bulls, it wasn't Michael Jordan leading them. It was Tony Kukoc, who had 26 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists. Michael Jordan was right behind him with 24 points and 5 rebounds. And Scottie Pippen with a triple-double with 20 points, 13 rebounds, and 10 assists. To now go into game 2. And in game 2, the Bulls were not backing down, taking a 15-point lead in the first and never looking back by going up by at most 25 points at one point, and the Warriors have no answer. Winning game 2 108-83. And yet again, it was Stephen Curry leading the Golden State Warriors with 24 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists. Klay Thompson right behind him with 11 points and 5 assists, and Draymond Green with 8 points and 11 rebounds. And with the Bulls side of things, it was Michael Jordan with 30 points, Scottie Pippen with 22 points, 8 assists, and 6 stocks, and Dennis Rodman doing Dennis Rodman things, having 8 points and 26 rebounds. And in game 3, the Warriors are fighting to not go down 0-3. But entering the 4th quarter, they are down by 3 points, and it took them up until the 3.5-minute mark to finally take the lead. The Bulls take a page out of the Warriors' book and shoot back-to-back threes to retake the lead, and the Warriors find themselves down by 3 with a minute left yet again. But this time it wasn't the Splash Brothers, it was Michael Jordan. The Warriors could not find an answer for him down the stretch, and the Bulls end up winning game 3 99-92, go up 3-0 in the series. The Bulls were led by Scottie Pippen with 35 points, 4 rebounds and 3 steals, Michael Jordan with 30 points, 11 rebounds, and Dennis Rodman with 0 points and 17 rebounds. And with the Warriors side of things, it was Klay Thompson with 40 points, Stephen Curry with 20 points, 5 rebounds, 8 assists, and Draymond Green with 9 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 blocks. And now in a do-or-die game for Golden State. Entering game 4, they are down 0-3 in the series. And in a must-win game, the Warriors find themselves down by 14 points into the 4th. And this is what I like to call the Stephen Curry game. Because in this 4th quarter, I have never seen anything like this, because he did knock down not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 10 threes in this quarter. There is nothing the Bulls could have done to stop Stephen Curry. After make, after make, after make, they could not stop him. Curry scored 38 points in this 4th quarter to will his team to a victory and take game 4 for the series to be 3-1. Will the Warriors survive for one more game on the backs of Stephen Curry, who had 64 points, 2 steals, 15 of 24 from 3. And with Klay Thompson right behind him with 26 points, 3 assists, and 5 stocks. And Draymond Green, who had 11 points, 9 rebounds, and 9 assists. And with the Bulls side of things, it was Michael Jordan with 38, Scottie Pippen with 32, 12 rebounds, and Dennis Rodman with 4 points and 13 rebounds. And after Stephen Curry willed his team to a victory in Game 4, that is all he had left in the tank. Because in Game 5, it was an ass-kicking from start to finish. With the Bulls winning Game 5, 113-94, and securing their rightful spot at the top of the mountain as the most dominant team in NBA history. And even with Stephen Curry having 29 points, 4 assists, and 3 rebounds, and Klay Thompson having 26, and Iguodala having 16 points, 7 assists, and 4 steals, it was the Bulls who had Scottie Pippen with 30 points, 14 rebounds, 8 assists, Tony Kukoc who had 24 points and 9 rebounds, Luke Longley with 23 points, 8 rebounds, and Michael Jordan with 15 points and 10 rebounds. And the finals MVP did not go to Black Jesus himself. It went to the so-called Robin, who averaged 27.8 points per game, 10 rebounds, and 7 assists, shooting 52% from the field, 80% from free throw, and 47% from three. The 1996 Chicago Bulls defeat the 2016 Golden State Warriors in 5 games in this showdown of eras. A team that transcends time. This series wasn't about competition. It was a bridge between 2 eras of basketball. And I want to hear what you guys think in the comments down below. And let me know which matchup you guys would like me to do next. And as always, go hard on them dudes. Salute.